Mm. Uh, how funny is it that it just froze like that? Hello. Ow. Mhm. Aimee Theresa, what's up, girl? How you doing today? The incredibly creative and talented Aimee Theresa is joining me today to be my friend on Evolving. I'm Cory. How's it going? Good to meet you. I'm saying that to whoever might not have ever, maybe this is their first time clicking on an episode because, it's just hopefully trying to interact with some new friends. Uh, how we feeling this afternoon? Uh-oh. Did we
Feeling
unmute
pretty
her?
good. Sorry,
Oh,
had to
good.
unmute myself.
Yeah, I was like, oh, panic. I had my
Sorry.
armpits got automatically sweaty. They
Oh,
weren't sweaty until I just had that little mute panic.
so sorry. Sorry about that. Just trying to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, yeah. My toes are like a ballerina right now.
So sorry.
So there's really nothing to apologize for.
Okay.
These things these things these things happen every day, you know. Uh,
Yeah.
so, um, how are how are things now? I mean, I know I know we saw each other at the Oaks premiere of the Last Known Location. I I, I know a couple things have happened since then, as far as like award and things like that. Like you're sort of blowing up at the moment and getting all these awards, and people are seeing you for the creative that you are, and I'm really here for it. Is what I'm saying.
Thanks.
I'm excited for you.
Thank you. Yeah. Um, so yeah, a lot's been happening. So we did have that was at Oaks. We had our sort of like launch party. So put Last Known Location into the world. That was our official release date. Prior to that, yeah, we had a lot of festivals that we were at. We did win a lot. We won several awards for Last Known Location. Um, the first film festival was really really great. We won four there, so we have been getting some award recognition. But
That's
since when I met each other, we kind of had it's been out in the world. So Last Known Location has been on. It's kind of blew up on Tubi, and then we had something really exciting happen right over the new year where we were on Amazon Prime, and we were in the top 10 in the U.S., which
yeah.
was pretty crazy for a very
That's
small indie film.
that's a phenomenon. You know, that's pretty great. So that just any like success now only begets more success later. Like it only fuels sort of momentum for more to happen and more great things and more you know creative screenwriting, more scripts coming out, more films being made, more stuff to act in. That's it. My favorite things to act in are my own things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I can relate to that for sure. Like, who knows how to write for you better than yourself?
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Um, and yeah, and I've definitely been writing. So I have two other scripts that I'm working on right now. So I'm writing. It's really interesting though, with like when you talk about writing for yourself. When I wrote Last Known Location, I didn't actually see myself in it as I was writing. I saw other people.
I
Um,
can completely relate to that. I
so
totally
yeah,
understand. I totally
yeah.
understand that. Yes, fully, fully.
I think it's like a visualization thing. I don't
Mhm.
know. Maybe you kind of just see. I
It,
kind of see things.
the when you're writing it or writing it down, it's like you're picturing it the way you picture it when you're reading a book, like the character and all the things. So when it comes to like the way you pictured it in your mind versus how you see it on the screen now,
Yeah.
how did that measure up?
That's an interesting question. I kind of stopped thinking about that because um, after we actually started shooting it, it was you were in it, right? We were just very focused on it. So
Mm.
I sort of just evolved. Then once we had the cast, then I just saw them. Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't
I
necessarily
understand
think
completely. Yeah. Hmm.
about what I had originally written, and or at least who I saw when, because then I started hearing it with these people speaking it, and
Hmm.
it clicked more at that point
Right.
because it was real. Um,
Mm.
I'm sorry, I'll just turn this off. I don't know what's happening here. Thought I had turned that down off.
Is it cool if I try to challenge you with something?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. This is a silly thing. I challenged myself to do it, and I'd like to see it work for other people the way I think it worked for me. And I love, like, anytime I'm feeling really good, I wanna share it.
Yeah.
What I've decided to do is, instead of apologizing for things that, like,
Uh,
probably not something worth apologizing for. Like, instead, like, saying like, sorry, our mute button, or sorry, our phone didn't have the mute button on, or like anything like that, or like when you're walking past somebody and you're like a little bit in their way. Instead of saying
yeah.
sorry, I replace that with excuse me, because when I get
Yeah.
myself in the habit of apologizing for stuff I'm not really sorry for, then the sincerity in my actual sorries will mean less to me.
Mm, that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
And so trying to reprogram my subconscious mind.
Right, because really, what do I have to be sorry for? It's mostly
Yeah,
just an interruption.
very, very excusable. Very, very
Yeah.
excusable. But I think I was replacing it for a while with my bad, but just
Yeah.
just the me and bad, and I don't want to turn it into a I'm bad kind of thing.
Hey, no, I get that.
So
Why would
excuse
you
me.
want to be? Excuse me. Okay,
I
let me try it.
I have a thing also where when I sneeze, it sounds like I'm coughing. People always think I'm coughing every time I sneeze. So I always say excuse me when I sneeze, only because people can't tell the difference, because my
Oh, that's
coughs and my sneezes sound identical.
that's
So
funny.
I thought of this because I was looking on your on your profile, just sort of kind of doing a little bit of research, and I saw that you had put I saw that you had put atheist on your profile, and
Yeah.
I laughed about, because I had this bit where I talk about, I was in Catholic school, like in elementary school, and then right moving into middle school, they put me in public school. So I
Okay.
sat next to this kid in my homeroom class who told me he was an atheist, and I didn't know what that meant. I had no idea. And then he started then complaining about how, like, the Pledge of Allegiance. We would talk about one
Mm,
nation under God, and that always pissed him off. He was always mad about it. And then I started thinking about, like, how am I gonna react when this guy sneezes? Because if he can't stand it in the Pledge of Allegiance, how's he gonna say when I say God bless you when he sneezes? What do I say when an atheist sneezes? Uh, so I started I started saying I started saying you sneezed, uh, and that that felt just as fine. And I thought of something else earlier today, but now I can't. Now it's not coming to me. What?
related to sneezing
Yes, related
because
to
I think
sneezing, and
yeah,
how you would approach a 12-year-old atheist in a
mm,
sneeze.
take insight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, doesn't that sort of translate back to
I
God
think
bless
it does.
you?
Yeah. So I usually say avosway or atasway, which is
I,
French, which literally translates to something like "May your wishes come true." But I think it's the same. It's the same idea as saying "God bless you."
and occasionally I'll say "sneeze be with you."
Sneeze be with you. I like that a lot.
Sneeze be with
Yeah,
you.
but
S-
I
um,
usually just say "bless you" because that's what people are used to. Like I
well,
say
yeah,
that, but I also say I really kind of like atasway or avosway. I'm like, that's cool to say. May all your wishes come true.
and then directly after you say that, you say, "Pardon my French."
Boyfriend, because I'm probably making it sound not right.
No,
Or
because it's
what I'm
French.
saying.
You said it's French.
Maybe I'm
So
wrong. Wrong. Uh, well, that's a big jug.
that's that's this is my accessory. If I had like an action figure, that's me. It's always got one of
Yeah,
these on.
that's yours. Yeah, yeah. I have mine right here, but it's not. It's it's a little.
It's a very
It's not.
humble size.
It's a little. I fill it up a lot. It makes me feel like I'm drinking more.
That that's one of those ones where like you drop it and it sounds like a catastrophe. Like bang 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 bang
Yeah,
bang bang bang.
it's true. Yeah, it does. It does.
Well, at
Sounds
least
like
at least your dog's not gonna freak out when he hears that sound.
he's not. No, he's not going to know what's going on.
No,
Well, no, he might freak out because he can feel vibrations.
right.
So that's really
So that
interesting.
would be a crazy amount of vibrations from that. Wah, 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 wah. Like
Mhm.
dropping that water bottle.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Did you?
pretty funny because, like, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Speaking of that, are you watching the prequel season of the new Dexter show,
Um, no, I haven't seen it yet.
the origin story?
I'm sure I would really enjoy it. I watched a lot of Dexter. I didn't finish it though. I don't think I finished that series. Remember
Uh,
why?
it's
Uh,
it's okay if you didn't finish the series. I think after the John Lithgow Trinity stuff, I don't think it was
yeah,
that good anymore.
that's. I mean, I liked that part of it, and then I feel like it sort of fell off. Maybe I don't. Not
Yeah,
that.
the
I mean,
show
I don't
fell
know.
off too.
It didn't hold my attention as much
Right.
as it previously had. So,
Yes. But
but
the
is
show,
you watching the new one?
yes, it's on Paramount Plus. It's called Original Sin. It's called Dexter Original
Mhm.
Sin. And there's one season. I haven't even gotten all the way through the season, but I've been watching it and I like
Okay.
it. They've casted it quite well. It's like I forget the kid who plays Dexter. I think he was in Shameless. And the the uh the girl who plays Deb looks just like her. Uh, Christian Slater is playing the dad,
Oh, okay.
and
Interesting.
he's nailing it. And they have a young guy playing Batista, the detective Batista from the original
Mhm.
series, and they have Christina Milian playing LaGuardia. It's
Oh.
pretty good casting. They've casted it quite well. So, have you always been a horror person? Have you been into horror movies forever?
Um, no, I wouldn't say I'm a horror person. Um, I really just like I like movies, so I like all kinds. I've done like a lot of. I feel horror is pretty popular from an independent standpoint. So
Right.
I've been involved in a lot of horror
Okay.
things, but I really like every all types of movies. Um, not so big like really, really gruesome horror. I'm not. That's not. I just don't gravitate toward that. Not that there's anything wrong with gruesome horror. It's just not my preferred thing to watch.
I
I
was
probably
for
would.
sure a very big horror fan for a very long time, and then I got to a
Hmm.
point where I'm like, maybe I'm inviting a lot of like weird energies into my brain, and I just kind of cut a bunch of like consuming that type of stuff out of
Yeah.
my life because I was like, all right, I want to be peaceful. I want to be fun. I want to be funny, and I think horror is more about like tense and sort of like different vibes that you're feeling, and I just wanted to kind of cut that loose a little bit. But I didn't think Dexter was going to be violating that policy for me.
Oh, okay.
I think that I think Halloween time is a full exception for me when it comes to that stuff, like the
Mhm.
the adrenaline spikes of scares and horror and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like stories that are like I typically am drawn toward horror films that have a real like maybe more dramatic horror or even like psychological horror. Probably, I like that suspense and mystery as like genres. So I don't know. It's like I don't know. I just kind of like everything, I suppose.
Yeah, you're so right. You're very right about that.
Yeah.
Have you ever
Oh,
been a wrestling fan ever?
a wrestling fan. I can't.
Mhm.
I have to say it's not necessarily something that I've
No, I
watched a
didn't
lot
think
of. So
I didn't think
I
so. I didn't think so. I think I would think I would have picked up on some context clues, but I figured I'd ask just to see if that's another thing that we'd want to dive into.
yeah, I have. I'm not necessarily something I've been exposed to a lot.
You've been
So no,
exposed to a lot of wrestling, you said?
no, I haven't. No,
Oh,
I
okay.
haven't
Well,
really much.
I think now in this very time, as
Yeah.
of January 6th of 2025, WWE Raw just started premiere. It started running on Raw on Netflix. You can watch Raw
Oh,
on Netflix now every week. So like I think more people have Netflix than people have cable. So it's exposing it to a wider audience, and I think that there's a possibility that pro wrestling will have the fan base that it had back in the 90s, and maybe there's a little bit of something for everybody. It's just like movies. So if you can suspend your like disbelief or like why would anybody do this stuff, because it's fun, like just like why would anybody watch this, because it's fun to watch, it's fun to lose
it's very
yourself in it.
dramatic, and I
Yeah,
know there's a lot of storylines involved. I know it's like there's a lot that goes into it. I think I've watched a couple documentaries um, because it's fascinating. I find that like I often like documentaries kind of see like the other side of things and see like how
right.
those things come about. So I can imagine that it will be get very popular if it's like going to be back on Netflix because it is very popular. There's
Yeah,
hardcore fans.
yes, there is, but it
Yeah.
it it seemed to get to a point like, well, for me, around middle school where
Okay.
like I say like ninth grade, where everybody who was kind of a fan of it stopped saying out loud that they were fans of it, just because like they were like
Oh,
kind of everybody was like a in the closet wrestling fan. If you were a wrestling fan, you were kind of in the closet about it. It's a strange time,
hmm.
but maybe Netflix will bust everybody out of the closet again.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm sure that that's definitely a possibility.
Hopefully.
Oh, crap. Netflix is an influence for sure. And then, like you said, it's becoming even more popular. Probably well, it is definitely the most popular streamer. I'm pretty sure. Um,
Who is that?
there, I think Next is probably the most
Oh
popular
yeah,
streamer.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
the
yeah.
it's so anything on that platform is going to I think have a real opportunity to kind of push, like to garner more attention for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So the the idea is a question I like to ask is
Mhm.
I don't ask it every time because there's certain things like I used to try to go like, oh, I want to make sure I talk about this or I talk about that, and I want to like I'd over stress myself out about formatting, and I think that's a thing that like a lot of podcasts kind of have like a whole like idea and things written down that they want to say and want to ask and sort of like topics that they want to cover. But this is an ever evolving process. This podcast is called Evolving. So it's all about like it'll change for the better, it'll change for the worse. It's gonna change for the worse to get better. It's not everything serves the next thing. It all serves
Right.
everything else. But the question that I was going to ask you was now that you're an award-winning actor and you're an award-winning writer and filmmaker, you've probably been on tons of shows, and people have probably asked you tons of the same questions. What's a question that you've never been asked on a podcast that you've always wanted to be asked on a podcast?
Hmm. Wow. I'm not. Oh gosh, I don't really. Man, that's a good question. Um, hmm. That's a really good question. I don't even know if I have an answer to that. Like, I don't know. I mean, you could maybe talk about. I guess maybe like how I made the switch, or not switch, but maybe leap from actor to writer, possibly. I mean, that's not something that I've talked about recently.
Right.
Um, or I'm not sure if I've talked about that at all. I can't really remember. But that would, I mean, I think that's kind of interesting, um, because I started as an actor first,
Right.
and
Yeah.
a theater actor. So um, when I got into film acting, um, I just sort of like a little thought that some of the scripts that I was reading were very like male heavy, usually like a lot of men, and there's like maybe one or two female roles in the whole thing. So that's always been something that motivated me as a writer, because I thought, well, I think I could write some interesting stories that kind of
Yeah.
focus more on like the female aspect, the female side of it. And then I really wanted to just get more. I really wanted more parts for not just me, but like my really talented
Mm.
female actor friends, because
Right.
I know a lot of really talented women, and a lot of us are in that same boat. Like you go to an audition and there's like one part, and the rest is like men. Like a lot of you in there, like 10 men and also 10 women, but there's only one one female
Right.
role. So yeah, that I mean that's something that is interesting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, like, have you written a lot of comedy or written any comedy at all? Or is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'd be
Yes.
interested in reading that. I love comedy.
So
Comedy is my favorite thing.
yeah, I have a short film called Something Borrowed that is
Okay.
called that is a short comedy.
Okay. Cool.
And that I have that like on YouTube. That was we had that in film festivals for a little bit, and that won a couple of awards too. Um,
Nice.
yeah, so and I really enjoy acting in comedies because it's 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 really I think it's really fun. Obviously, because it's a comedy. Um, yeah, and I do a series called Certifiable with Jennifer MK, who's also in Last Known Location, and
Hmm.
Danny works on that to direct with her. So she's a director of that. But that's a whole comedy series. So
Hmm.
yeah. So I've
That's
been involved in a lot. And I like to write my next couple scripts that I'm working on. Um, one of them is a comedy, but it's a horror comedy. So that'll be fun.
A
I'm having a lot
horror
of fun.
comedy.
Yes.
That that that's an underserved genre, I believe.
I think
I
it's the
think
best. I love it.
there's some good ones though. But it's
Yeah.
underserved genre, like Shaun of the Dead,
That's it. Yep.
top tippy top horror comedy. Zombieland is up there,
Yep. Yeah.
but
Very much in the vein. It's like a homage to those two specifically,
I
because I love
those just
movies.
happen to be the ones that I pulled out of my butt, and those were the ones that you were inspired by. Cool.
Yes. Yes. Um, and did you see Renfield?
Yes, I love Renfield. I thought that was
I
really good.
know. I thought that was fantastic. I love that movie.
Dude, Nicolas Cage is like a treasure.
Yeah.
He is a national treasure.
Yeah.
He just
Especially in
didn't
that
star in
movie.
those movies. Uh,
Hmm?
he he didn't just star in National Treasure. He is a national treasure.
He
Uh,
is, absolutely.
the and the massive talent, that movie. Did you see the burden of massive talent or whatever
No,
with Pablo?
no, I did not.
Oh,
Not
dude,
yet.
that was so good. That was
Hold on, I
Pablo. What's that
list.
guy's name? Pablo Pascal. Dude, it was really good. He just played himself, but like
Oh, I lied.
and
I did see it. Oh my
yeah,
God. Yes, it was fantastic. I think it's confusing it with another. I don't know why, for some reason, that the title of that and that movie just didn't sync up in my brain. Yes, I did see that, and it was great.
I'm trying to think. What was the the guy's name is Pablo Pascal? Is that his name? I he did The Last of Us on HBO.
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal. I knew I was saying
Yeah,
it wrong. What did I
yeah.
say? Pablo.
I think Pablo, but it's Pedro. Yeah,
Okay,
he's
Pedro.
classic,
That makes way more sense. That makes way more sense. But
which I love.
I always have comedy in the front of in the front of my brain. And one of my favorite comedians when I was a kid was this comedian Pablo Francisco. I don't know if you've ever
Oh,
heard of him, but
no,
was
no.
he like I think comedy and stand up comedy kind of structured how I like my vocabulary and how I spoke and how I like delivered almost anything I ever said in like lines or whatever. Because it's like I learned sort of the formatting of how to like kink the hose and like let it go, you know. I mean, for like the most effectiveness on a punch, uh, through like watching some of my favorite comedians like Mitch Hedberg, Pablo Francisco, Dane Cook, even where it would be like just
Teen Cook.
I was accused many a times of saying, because Dane Cook used to say shit like he would like extend the word shit out real hard, and
Yeah.
I would say it just like that, shit. But I mean that was 20 years ago or something, however long ago that was. So how did you and Danny meet? How through acting?
Yeah, sort of, kind of. There used to be this like networking thing in Philly.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I went to those.
You went
The
to
pen.
those? They were like Penn or like MPEG. I don't know. They
Yeah,
were,
yeah, I went to those. I went to those. Yeah.
yeah, and
So that's where we all
we met,
met.
we met there, but it was like a we met, and that was that. Until like, oh, we're friends. We actually talked for a little about like theater acting and things like that. And then a good friend of ours was having a birthday party, um, and we were both at that birthday party. And we reconnected at that birthday party and sang karaoke, and then the rest, that was it. Then we had our like a
Our
first date
slowly
like a week
motions
later.
ran high.
Huh?
I was quoting Dumb and Dumber, just as
Oh,
I'll
right.
do. So, sparks flew, emotions ran high. She actually talked to me, man.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah,
I
spark flow emotions around. Absolutely, yeah.
yeah.
It was the rest is history.
That's that's pretty awesome. It's funny because
Yeah,
we were talking. You and I were just talking probably before, right before we went live, and I was saying like talking about listening to episodes of the show to kind of get a feel, and you were like talking about going through the lists, and you were like, "Oh,
yeah,
I don't know about listening to the ones with Alyssa." This is actually where we met. Her and I, we met on her doing an episode of the podcast. So
that's so cool. I
so
love that.
yeah, it's I guess because I guess I'm a goof, and she liked me because I was a goof,
Eh,
something like that. But I mean, I feel like everything I do serves every other thing that I do. Like
Yeah,
so when I go like, hey, do you know this guy, Cory Kastle? Oh, yeah, he's a wrestler. Oh, did you know he's also an actor? Oh, and he also does a podcast and he also does stand up comedy. And then he goes, oh, he's a comedian who also wrestles and also acts and also has a podcast. So every other thing like serves every other thing. So I felt like when uh, when I think about the podcast and what I want to accomplish with it, I like get stuck inside of like, oh, things aren't happening quick enough, or like then probably anybody else who starts a podcast goes like, I'm not getting the instant results that I want from this, so I give up. I think a lot of people will give up, not me specifically. I'm just saying a lot of people will just go like, oh, well, like I tried to have a podcast and I did it for a year and then I quit because nobody was giving me the Joe Rogan numbers that I built up in my head like I was going to get right away. um, and I think a lot of people talk themselves out of it by going like, "Oh, everybody's got a podcast, and anybody's got a podcast. Anybody can start a podcast. It's not exclusive." So like now I'm competing with everybody else, and I take it out of like the fact that you're not in competition with anybody else. Your voice is specifically your voice. Your perspective absolutely belongs to you and doesn't belong to anybody else. So you're not competing for the same audience. People can be an audience of 100 things. Like they don't have to only be one fan of one thing.
yeah,
So
it's
when
true.
if nothing else came out of the podcast as far as like success, which I think it's an eventual thing, it'll happen. But at least I found my wife out of it.
It's a great, it's a great thing to find.
Yeah, that's
But and that's but it is also true is that every audiences are drawn to what they're drawn to, and it just is it depends on them finding you or you finding them.
right.
Everyone is either gonna love something or you're gonna hate it or you're gonna be like lukewarm about it or you know but I think that just stopping something because you're not having like this immense success does. I mean, just do it for you and also for the people that you're going to reach because you will reach some people, sure. I
Right.
think. I
Yeah.
mean, everybody's drawn to different voices, so
The drum. I know you saw it for 1/2 second in
yeah.
the beginning. The drum,
Oh,
I've talked about it very often. This to me represents the consistency.
okay.
Me staying consistent to continuing to beat my drum the way I do it and put my shows out. And this is what I go to the ring. I go to the ring beating the drum, and my camera keeps freezing. But like my theme song that I come to the ring to the wrestling ring is with this drum beat, and it's Alyssa singing.
Oh,
So like
that's awesome.
it's sort of consistent with staying true to the message, and I always say, like, I it's the closest thing that I have to, like, church in my adult life. It's sacred to me. The ring is sacred
Yeah.
to me. The drum is sacred to me. The A little bit of these messages are sacred to me because I go back and I think about the legacy of it. Not specifically, let me, like, blow my head up and think about it like, oh, my legacy, but I, like, go, this is a timestamp in who I am right now. And I'll have this for the rest of my life. And the people who care about me will have this to listen back to and kind of understand me and maybe get some valuable takeaways, maybe some perspective changes that they maybe didn't think about certain things a certain way. And I hope to add that value to anybody who actually uh, spends the currency of their effort and their time on
Mhm.
consuming whatever it is that I'm putting out, whether
Yeah.
it's wrestling or comedy or acting, podcasting,
Yeah.
any of those things.
Any of the things.
Right, exactly. Shit.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So
It's true too.
I say how much the currency of effort and attention and on the record stuff, this sort of whole thing means. Uh, I do a segment. I It's a little early. I don't do it this early that often, but I figured it would be a cool thing to do. As I do the
Yeah.
segment that I like to call audio time travel, where
Okay.
where where in which I remind you that this recording will outlive us. This could be stumbled upon 20 years in the future, in 2045. The people who care about you the most, or the people who are fans of you and just kind of want to get an inside scoop on who Aimee Theresa was, uh, on the inside, and, like, the stuff that inspires her to be uh, all the types of better versions of herself every single day. What are those messages that you're saying to those people? You're speaking to them right now and not to me.
Okay. So, all the things that inspire me today, right? Is that to for people who hear possibly later? Right now, gosh.
Yeah, like a
Um,
like an inspiring message from 2025 to the people of the future.
oh,
Some
okay. So
like
really inspiring. Um, so I feel like everything that I have done and all the things I've worked for ultimately come out of some type of disappointment or rejection or pain. Um, Anytime something doesn't go my way, the thing that I do consistently is then I may be upset about it and it may make me really sad. But what I always do is I try to take some type of action to push myself forward as an actor, as a writer. If I'm not getting, like, I specifically things that like I've written things because I didn't get another part. If I wanted something and I didn't get it, what I did is I took that pain and I decided to change it. Well, I'll make my own story. I'm going to write my own script. If you don't want me, that's fine. I will make my own thing and I'm going to show you that I can do it. Like, that's kind of been the way I've been operating for the last, I don't even know how long I've been acting, but that's kind of it. If something doesn't go my way, I try to do something actionable. And I think that's a thing that I would love other people to know is that if something is not going your way, or you didn't get a part, or you failed in some way, the only true failure is if you give up, I think. The only true failure is throwing in the towel if it's something that you want, something you love. If you love acting, just keep acting,
that's
and you'll succeed, because that, like, I think it's persistence more than anything, and if you're doing it because you love it, just keep doing it.
I think too often people see an obstacle and they don't get over it or get around it. They just succumb to accepting their place in being on this side of the obstacle and not on the other side of it where they want to be. And uh, the, seeing obstacles as only obstacles would be a valuable takeaway for anybody to go
Yeah.
like, you can overcome your obstacles. You can if you don't see something happening in this world, make it happen. Like if you there's a piece
Just
of art that, yeah.
absolutely. If something, if you, because admittedly, we're all going to be disappointed, and there's always going to be something that feels a little soul crushing, feels like you makes you want to give up. Like you'll say, "Oh, I'm not good enough," or "Oh, I'll never be able to do this." But I do think that you're sort of, it's self fulfilling prophecy. Then, like you're telling yourself,
You're
it's really
convincing
powerful.
yourself that, right.
You're convincing yourself. I know I battle that. Like I have a lot of doubts, but I kind of just, I'm like, well, I'm just going to keep.
Right. Soldier on.
just just keep going.
Right.
Do you ever see Finding Nemo?
Finding Nemo, yeah. Yes, yes. Dory,
Dory,
yeah.
she's like, just keep swimming. I really think those are very wise words. Just
Very,
keep
very
swimming.
wise. So Disney be killing it. They be nailing it sometimes as far as like the positive messages and the inspirational things. Did you see the movie Soul? The Samuel L.
Yes,
Jackson. That was so
I
good.
did. I really love that one. I thought that was beautiful. I really thought that was beautiful.
Yes.
That was a
Did
good
you
one.
going completely opposite from Disney? But
Yeah.
did you watch this series Barry on HBO?
Yes.
As an actor, how does that show hit you? Because
I really, I love Barry. I think it's a great show.
this is a great show because they romanticized like acting class and like doing that work and really going like stuff that we may have. It's kind of inside baseball to us. They kind of like
Mhm.
romanticize it on the mainstream, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I do think sometimes those things can, they romanticize it, and then also I think it's, yeah, a little. Some of it is like unrealistic. Here I go, unrealistic, and that like, um, she gets a show. I don't know. I think that's kind of
oh,
tricky, but
it's setting up crazy expectations for people who
I mean,
want. Yeah,
yes, what you were saying. Yeah, but I think
uh,
that show is great. It's crazy.
did you ever see The Disaster Artist?
Disaster artist.
It's James Franco and
I
Dave Franco. It's about like Tommy Wiseau. It was kind of
Oh
like spoofing.
yes,
It was, they made like a
spoofing room.
The Room. Yeah,
The room. Right, right. Yes, yeah.
that was
I did
I love that
that.
movie.
That movie is insane. Also, yes. It's funny.
That,
I think watched that, and then we watched The Room, so you
right.
could kind of see
I
how
had
it was.
known of The Room, not as far as like watching the whole thing, just seeing like clips of it and being like, "Wow, how did this exist?" For years before that movie ever came. So that when that movie came out, it was like a whole other special thing, and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
it was like, I didn't hit her. It's bullshit. She's lying. I did not."
Hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi,
Yeah.
Mark. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I don't. I mean, that's a little exercise in persistence, isn't it? Maybe. But hey, for something that was what it was, it ended up being quite popular. The
Like
Room.
there's like a certain uh, the Tommy Wiseau sort of like style that like the
Yeah.
clothes that he wore, like the type, like when people wear those jeans with the certain designs on the back pockets, That it's like there's like a genius weirdo wrapped up inside inside those pants. Like they must only exclusively sell those weird pants to
To
creative weirdos.
yeah, probably. All
Show
the creative
like
weirdos
hey,
are lined
you want
up
to
to
buy
buy
a pair of
those
this pants? Want to buy a pair of these pants? You got to show us your Google history. We've got to be able to determine that you're a weirdo.
a bit. Yeah. Who's your imaginary friend? How many do you have? What are they saying right now? Oh, that's funny. Mm.
So I
So,
have just a few more things, and then
all
I'll send
right.
you off to the sunset with a hot dog and a handshake. All right. So, so um, I want to say just before anything else, not before anything else, because I've said a whole lot of other else's, but but I want to make sure I say this and how important it is for me to have you know this. Uh, the the currency of your time and your effort, you hanging out with me here today is so appreciated. I want you to know that I'm happy to be any kind of resource to you. If you ever feel like you need a friend or anything, please don't hesitate to call me up. If you just need somebody to talk to, I'm here to listen. My my phone line's always open. You can reach right out to me. I'm always right here for you. Uh, I'm excited about. I know this is like our first, like the longest conversation we've ever had, and I hope this is the first of many that we have
Yeah.
a working relationship opening up from this point on, and I'm optimistic in that. And I just wanted to share that with you on the record because we're talking about this stuff as being something that outlives us. So if
Yes.
if I say nothing else but that, I'll feel very comfortable and confident in knowing that I've welcomed you here today, and I'm excited about uh, what what the future. Because look, we could have this conversation today, and then work on another thing in a year from now, let's say, and then we
Absolutely.
go back and listen to this and be like, oh look, we didn't really even know each other that well at that time, and it changes
Yeah.
everything. It's really funny knowing that Alyssa will go back and listen to the episode from 4 years ago when we were just strangers, and now we are engaged and going to be married. So it's a funny little timeline thing.
It's,
I love playing with the timelines. Do you
yeah.
have any weird, like, kind of like theories on like alien time travel, any of that stuff? Does that pop through your brain ever at all?
So I'm really, I don't really know. I'm a huge sci-fi fan. Like I love science fiction. I love science fiction movies. I love the idea of other life there. Um, I would love for that to be true. I don't know. I'm not sure. Like I think it would be a hope of mine that we're not the only sentient form in the universe as we know it. So I
Yeah,
really
it
hope.
would feel like a huge waste of space, for sure.
Seems like it. Seems like a huge waste of space. But I don't know. Like I hope. I love the idea of thinking about traveling through space. I love that. I think it would be so cool. And there are often times where I think you're never going to live to see that. Like you're not going to live long enough to see if we get off this planet, which that makes me sad sometimes. So I try not to think about it. But I think it would be really interesting because some of I do really enjoy. There's a series called The Expanse. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it, but it was on Sci-Fi, and then think
No.
I think Amazon picked it up. There's like it's based on a book, and it's a fantastic series. If you enjoy science fiction, and it has like people who are Earth people, and then there's a colony on Mars, and then there's a whole colony that lives on the asteroid belt, and it's really cool. So that's my recommendation for a really good series if you like science fiction.
You, what's funny is like sometimes like you know how like there's like a whole like there's whole like subgenres of conspiracy theories that are like
Yeah,
all like flat earth stuff. There's like a whole bunch of evidence in that in their minds and they talk about flat earth like crazy. Um
yeah,
and I know I'm not saying crazy like it's bad, but I'm saying like they like an insane amount like people obsess about it. The time travel genre of that, I found I can jump into a rabbit hole of like talking to time. They talk to time travelers, and like they sound so convinced, uh, and it's very interesting, and I every once in a while when I feel and you know like when you talk about the Mandela effects and the CERN and all that like the Hydro Collider, uh, the weird universes like the Berenstain Bears. I don't remember it ever being stain when I was a kid.
yo, yeah. I've seen like yeah. I don't. Some of that stuff makes you a little easy when you looking at like, the. I've seen like articles like that where it shows you the pictures and it shows you a picture of what it really is, and you're like, wait a second, I remember it this way. So I don't really know. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I am huge into any conspiracy theories in general. I feel like didn't we hear recently something about aliens that people like they know there's aliens like and they were hiding crazy. You remember that? That came up recently about yes, in fact, there are aliens. We know about them and we hid it from you. No, I could be
Yeah, I
making it
think
up.
that there was something like they knew that they're not that they came right out and said that they knew that they were aliens, but I think they did say that they heard that they knew about like the sightings that like the Air Force was seeing, like
Right.
the aircraft and things like that. I don't know if they came right out and said that they know things about aliens, but you'd think that they're declassifying a ton with these executive orders that maybe something new might come out. Did you see the Kennedy? They opened up the JFK files. Like Trump signed an executive order to open up the Kennedy files,
No, I didn't see that. No, I didn't
and
see that.
I saw a piece of footage that looked just like the guy in the front that was driving the car just turned around and shot him right from the driver's seat.
Huh.
But I mean,
Interesting.
maybe I'm nuts. Maybe I'm just imagining that. Maybe that's in my head.
Hmm.
Maybe I've gone through the Hadron Collider. I don't. I'm not sure. I've had a lot of head trauma. The early 2000s were filled with unprotected chair shots.
Oh,
So,
oh man. That's like a chair in the head. Is that what you're saying?
yes,
Like you hitting the
I
head
just
with
got hit
a
in
chair?
the
Oh,
head with chairs a lot. In the early 2000s, it was just chair shots to the head constantly. And
oh, oh,
I remember specifically I can't believe I don't forget it somehow. You'd think I would have forgot it because I got hit in my head so hard. But I once wrestled a show in Jersey, in South Jersey somewhere.
okay.
My family was all down the shore, and I was home alone, and I wrestled on the show in South Jersey, and I took a chair shot to the head and I drove
Oh,
myself home and I got paid in pizzas. I got paid in
oh,
pizzas for getting hit in the head with a steel chair.
oh, that's awful. Oh, that's
I brought
terrible.
I
You
brought pizzas home. I had pizzas all week.
well. Gotta give you something, but that's doesn't
At
feel
least
right
you got
there.
that. Got paid in pizza.
Paid in pizza. I feel like a lot of us have been there, although I didn't haven't gotten hit in the head with a chair.
Right. Yeah. There's a
But
good amount of pay to play in all entertainment, and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I can't say that I'm still not going through like almost the same reason you were talking about switching over into writing because it thinks like there's only so many things and like the the entertainment business is not fully a meritocracy as you'd expect it to be. It's really like some especially on my realm in pro wrestling, it's like really who you know and who's willing to give you a shot and without you threatening their spot because you
right.
show up there and you're a threat to them automatically. So it they absolutely have to keep a close grip on the key for the gate.
Yeah, yeah, and I think too that um, anybody in the entertainment sector in any type of way, we're all very unfortunately like we take advantage of too very easily. I think because you would like to be involved in more things, or you want the job, or you want I think people are, feel that you're easy to work with, and you know
Yeah,
sometimes I just think there's a lot of like people who get taken advantage of, and there's also people that seem to feel like it's okay to like take advantage of other people. Um, and it's really a shame.
yeah,
Or like you said, like threatened by. I mean, I can imagine that from the wrestling world that that's got to be definitely a big thing because I know that the store like coming in as a like a new person and like having like this attention, and then does the attention fall off of the like established
right,
character?
right.
That's
So yeah, it's just you got to get a spot to protect it, you know.
yeah, geez. Uh,
and and like a lot of the time, I don't want to say a lot, I don't want to act like it's a bigger thing than it is, but like there will be there will be times where I'll lose out on a spot for somebody who would have done it the same match. When I say same match, they definitely wouldn't have given it my experience and it wouldn't have been as good as mine, but
yeah,
just the fact that they were willing to do it for less or for nothing at all, or
that's
to get paid in pizza, then I was that jerk for guys of my veteran status back in the day. You know what I mean? Like the there was probably like, oh, this freaking idiot took a chair shot and he got paid in pizza. Like I probably was that jerk to guys of my status now. You know?
yeah. I wish there was like some way to like bridge that gap, right? Of people who are unexperienced or not, I don't want to say unexperienced, like this like newer or
Right.
less established to be able to come in and have a space without pushing someone out. Like I think about that in terms of films. Any, you see a lot of films that come out and there's multiple characters that are filled with people who have like bigger names. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and even the same thing too, like the whole thing with like the nepo baby thing, where your parents are established and then you kind of slide into a spot, and there's like the argument that says, oh well, we're talented, and we auditioned and things like that, and like, yeah, of course, but you kind of got into rooms that other actors would never get into. So we would never have a shot at you getting in that room. And you have a
Yeah.
shot because you're attached to like a person,
Whatever your last name is,
your
or
last name.
right.
So I do wish that they would, if you could have like a couple of established people, but then really pull in people who aren't. I don't understand why that isn't more. Um, I don't know. Like I just feel like there's roles that they give to folks that it would be great if they gave a smaller role to someone who had like less credits, or just to give them a little push to help them out. Because I think it would only benefit other people. Like if you create more names, just means you're going to be able to market films better. But I don't know, maybe there's something I'm missing that I'm not.
Right. I think
I don't know.
people think that like I'm trying to think like the ocean is like, let's say the ocean is the entertainment business. People think
Right.
that like that that like scooping out one spoonful and holding that spoonful like stops anyone else from getting any of the water. It's
Yeah.
it's a weird like it's almost like when everybody was hoarding up all the toilet paper during the lockdown. It's just like
Yeah.
that. The amount of people who are just playing with scared money.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. Like it all. Right.
I definitely want to be a part of a some type of startup like entertainment mogul type community where we can elevate people and we uh, can collaborate and we can work together in many type like different types of projects that bring people into something that they wouldn't have expected themselves to ever be in, and everyone thrive, and nobody has to get ousted, you know what I mean, and everybody can be creatively fulfilled. That's a,
Oh,
a
that's a dream. That would be amazing.
that's an
I
evolving dream. It's an evolving
Yeah,
dream. It stays evolving.
yeah, it does, but it would be great. Something very, very much like that would be wonderful. Yeah. So,
Well, the other thing I wanted to ask you was, I like to twist, I like to turn it back around on you, and hypothetically, I've gifted you this show. Any questions or things you want to ask me or say to me? Uh, you can feel free to say that within the next couple minutes, and I'll answer you. I got nothing to hide.
um, if you could choose whichever avenue of all of these cool things that you do, if you could choose which avenue would lead you to success, which one would it be?
If I could choose
Like,
which one would.
like highest level of success. I'm not saying you have success now, but you're doing a lot of things. Let's just say
Right,
one of
right.
those things kind of took off and kind of really propelled forward. Which of them would you want it to be?
This.
The podcast?
Yes, yes, this.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that.
this absolutely. This is the thing I've wanted to have this be like a major thing for a very long time. If this could be what I do for a living, and I won't, I don't want to talk about what I won't be doing. I just want to talk about like how I would continuously do multiple episodes every day. Like I would just sit in here and record this and then like go to sleep and then wake up and have more money from recording all the episodes and scheduling.
Yeah.
I get like a almost like a runner's high when I record a bunch of episodes and I archive them and I schedule them out. Like I get so creatively fulfilled doing that. It feels
Uh,
like I feel very accomplished in that.
oh, that's awesome. The only reason I asked that is because you have like multiple facets of like you're doing a lot of different things, and there's also a lot of other. Think about like the Smartless podcast. They're all like
Yeah, that's very true.
actors, right? So
Right,
they're predominantly actors, and they have this like a
right,
podcast. So I'm not sure if it's like, do you want to have this as something that yeah you do, but you like and you enjoy, but
right,
oh, if I could be like a stand-up comedian, that would be like the like, and have this be like an offshoot of that. It's just interesting to see where. Like
stand-up
what the
comedy
priority?
is stand-up comedy is so major for me. It is like if I could do this on a stage and then like open up with doing some stand-up and that be
Yeah,
like my main source of income, like my bank account's full from me doing that. Yes, I'm
yeah.
doing that. I'm doing live episodes. I envision evolving on a marquee and my name
Love
being
it.
there and people lined up around the block. Like
I love
I
that. That's
envision
awesome.
that.
I love that. That is fantastic. That's gonna happen.
Yes.
It's gonna happen.
Do you do any impressions at all?
No, I am not that actor. I do not have those impressions in my wheelhouse. I can't do them. I get real anxious. I wish I could do impressions of anyone. I can't. I shouldn't say I can't. I just don't. Probably I don't. There's not anyone that I
It's
feel
the
like
same reason. It's the same reason I don't dance at weddings. It's just like
I.
I I get it. Maybe I could, but probably can't, and I don't want to embarrass myself.
I'm always very impressed with actors that do that. You know, sometimes you'll watch. I'm always impressed with that. They can just kind of turn into uh, like somebody that you see on screen, like a famous actor. I've
I'm,
never,
I'm thinking.
that's
I'm
never been
automatically
something
thinking
I
of.
tried.
I'm automatically thinking of what the heck's the guy? Charlie Hunnam in Sons of Anarchy. Like he
Okay,
is very Australian, but you can't tell because he's just playing a kid from California.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't. I'm not really great at impressions of, you know.
Do you see anybody out there in the world who is like a major role model or influence for you where you'd go, I could see myself being that person. Like everything they do, I could see myself doing that, but like with my flair to it.
Hmm. Um, I mean, I admire a lot of. There's a lot of people that I do look up to. Um, so there's a specific. She's a writer director. Her name is Britt Marling, um, and she wrote. There was a series. It was called the OA. It was
Yeah,
out
that
on
was a great
Netflix.
show. Yeah, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, you
She
you
is.
have you have her vibe. You've got her vibe all the way. I get it right when you said OA. I was like, yep, I know what you're talking about right away.
I I think she's definitely an inspirational person for me because
Right,
she's a writer, and I think she also played a role. She was in the OA,
right. Yeah,
and I think she had a completely different life before. I think she was like went to law school or something, and then like switched gears completely and became like a writer, director,
very, very
and I,
inspirational. Yeah.
so I kind of like she's definitely someone I look at and I'm like, I just love what you did and I would like you inspire me and I'm gonna keep trying to do what we're doing. Um, yeah, so I think she's pretty cool.
So the reason I was asking that
Okay.
impressions thing was only because uh, I usually have the guests say the line we close with in their best impression, which is I always say have them say, "Be fun, have safe, keep evolving." In whatever their best impressions are. I've gotten a lot of Trumps, a lot of I've gotten a lot of I'm trying to think of what other people have done American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. A lot of people. I'm trying to think of other people impressions that everybody's done. Forrest Gump, probably.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Uh,
Trying to think of other people that have been impersonated on the show. Uh, it,
oh
it
man.
started. It started originally. I think it was my friend Renee. I had my friend Renee on, and I was like, "Hey, man, do you do an impression of Alf?" I didn't. I just said Alf from the TV show Alf, and he
Yeah.
nailed it. And I was like, "All right,
Wow.
I'm doing that every time." In your, I said, so in your best Alf impression. No, I'm
Oh
kidding.
my
You don't
god.
have to do it.
I don't know if I do that. No. Oh yeah. I don't. I can't even think of. I don't think I could do Alf. um. uh, hmm.
Well, what's
I don't know.
what's a your character from Less Known Location? What was her name?
Callie.
In your frantic Cali,
Oh God.
you say, "Be
Um.
fun, have safe, keep evolving."
To say be fun, have safe, keep evolving. Right.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Um. Be fun, have safe, keep evolving.
Thanks so
I
much.
don't
I
know.
appreciate you very much. I will. I just can't wait for us to do more stuff. I hope you're excited about it as much as I am. Everybody, if this is your first time checking out Evolving, go back, check out the archives. Maybe you'll see some guests that you've liked. Maybe hit subscribe so that you'll see the future guests. Comment, interact with me. Let me know that you exist. If you ever have something going on in your life and you feel like you can't talk to somebody, reach out to me. My DM's wide open. Cory Kastle. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Be fun. Have safe. Keep evolving.